Everybody say awkward. Yeah, I could tell you some weird neighbor stories if you want to hear them. I could tell you some. Anybody got any weird neighbor stories? Anybody got some? Yeah? If you're not raising your hand, you're the weird neighbor. You are the one who's weird. Anyway, 10:30, are you good? You happy to be here? Anybody? Man, I'm so excited that you're here. And man, I'm pumped up because next weekend, I don't know if you know, but it's Easter. Woo-hoo! Yeah, I'm excited. And now I'm curious. How many of you are on vacation or you're traveling? So you're not going to be in church next weekend? Let me see your hands. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Hands down. Cancel your plans. Just cancel your vacation, okay? And if you didn't have insurance out on your vacation, we will reimburse you all your vacation expenses so you can come here. Just email us at that'snotttrue@bayshore.com. No, but I'm going to give you a little Easter preview message today because I know a lot of you are going to be gone. But before I do that, first timers in the room, I don't want to point you out. I don't want to make you raise your hand, but I do want to say thank you for being here. We love it that you're here. And I rarely talk about second timers, but listen, it's a big deal if you're a second timer. You know why? You came back. I did not scare you away. And so if you're a first timer, a second timer, an onliner, or whatever, we're glad you're here. So can you guys just give some love, some noise for some of those folks who are here? I'm so glad that you guys are hanging out with us. And before I get rolling, is George in the room? Is George somewhere in the room? Where's George? George. Sit up. Listen, George is about to become one of our online family people. George is moving to Montana on Tuesday. Tomorrow. Okay, George is going to Montana, people. He's going to ride on a bison or something. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't even know if there's bison out. I don't know. But George, you're an amazing part of our church family. And here, listen, everybody, there's like about 120 or so in the room. Listen, on Monday, pray for this man. He's going to Montana, and as a church family, let's bless this guy. You got 120 people praying for you tomorrow, okay, George? All right, so we love you, man. I love you, man. I'm glad you've been part of our church online. All right, I'll be talking to you through that thing right there. The second thing I want to say, Nate's about to leave. No. This is Nate's first Sunday leading like as our worship leader. And thank you, sir. You are amazing. I appreciate you. And if you don't know where Bo is, watch last weekend's service and just grab tissues, okay? Because we cried the whole time. And I'm not going to cry today. Got it all out last week. But appreciate you, Nate. Today's message, we'll put this on the screen. I'm calling today's message, Why in the World? Why in the world? Now, I always like to start out with a question. Here's my question today. When you all cook, now some of you are just like, I'm already out. So we'll include the microwave, all right? So the microwave counts for cooking, all right? We'll make that a count. But when you cook something, anything, and there is a recipe available, do you follow the recipe or do you take things wherever the Spirit leads, okay? So let's kind of organize this and do this way. If you follow the recipe, raise your hand. Let me see all the godly people in the room. My people, this is the way. You have already got a mansion in heaven prepared for you. And if you go wherever the Spirit leads, I just want you to shout, woohoo! Why am I not surprised, Bay Shore? Listen, I love all y'all who are the woohooers because I'm married to one of y'all, all right? My wife, she is the Free Spirit Recipe president, people. And let me just say this. Stacy knows this. I tell her this all the time. Stacy makes the greatest spaghetti in the world. The greatest, okay? And my mom's probably watching this and she just got offended, but I'm just like, Stacy's spaghetti is banging. I mean, it's so good. And so a few weeks ago, she was making it, and I was like, hey, baby, can you, like, how do you make your spaghetti? And she's like, I don't know, I make it different every time. I'm like, wait, there's no recipe? And she's like, what? And I'm like, what? The Free Spirit Recipe president, people. And her cooking is way better than mine. And she doesn't follow. Do you know people like this who they don't do anything, like follow anything? It's an amazing situation. Anybody know that people like this? I remember just like it was a couple weeks ago. It was like 5 o'clock in our house, and Stacy was like, honey, do you want ribs for dinner? I was like, does Billy Graham have a quiet time? Yes. That sounds amazing. And so she's looking at the cooking instructions recipe thing on the back of the package, and she's like, uh-oh. I was like, what? And she said, well, it says I got to slow cook these for 3 hours. Now, that's a problem in our house because we eat dinner earlier than every other person on the planet. Like, some of you are psychopaths. You eat dinner at 8 o'clock. Who eats dinner at 8 p.m.? Where are the psychopaths, okay? If you ask me to come over to eat at 8, I'm showing up at 8 a.m. for breakfast. At 8 p.m., I'm brushing my teeth. I'm going to bed. That's what I'm doing at 8 p.m. I'm not eating anything. I'm going to sleep. And so we didn't want to wait till 8. Neither one of us wanted to wait till 8. And so Stacy's like, forget this recipe. I'll cook it in half the time. I'll figure it out. It'll be fine. I was like, are you trying to food poison me? Is this going to be my last supper? You know what I'm saying? But I was too hungry to even care. I don't know if that's ever happened to you. This is not a lie. They're the best ribs I've ever had in my life. No recipe. Best ribs I've ever had in my life. All right? Didn't follow the recipe at all. So let's look at last weekend. Last weekend, I made the family a pork loin. And it was about 5 o'clock when I made mine, but that was okay because I followed the instructions to the T, people. It said 20 minutes for every pound of pork loin at 350 degrees. I got out my calculator on my phone. I got it down to the second, people. I preheated it, put it in the oven. The oven went off when it went off. I pulled it out. It was steaming. I was like, glory to God. I cut it open. Raw. Pork sushi, people. I followed it to the T. And when Stacy sees the recipe, she's like, I'm going to get as far away from that thing as I can. When I see a recipe, I'm like, I got to follow the rules, okay? I don't want to get arrested by the food police. So one more time, how many of you are Stacy in this situation? Let me see the Stacy people in the room. Okay, we're not worthy. If you're me in this situation, just shout pork sushi or something. All right, yeah. Here's my point. In that situation, you have two people. We see the exact same thing. We see a recipe, and we have two totally different perspectives. Now, this happens all the time. There's this sort of famous shoe salesperson story. And the way the shoe salesperson story goes is there's these two shoe salespeople, and they go to this remote village to try to sell shoes. So they show up to this remote village, probably trying to sell them some Hey Dudes or some Crocs, some cracks. I don't know what they are, okay? But so they show up to sell them these shoes, and they get there, and nobody in the village has shoes on. Everybody's barefoot. So the one shoe salesperson calls his boss and is like, this is no good. Nobody here wears shoes. The other guy gets on the satellite phone, calls his boss and says, boss, you will never believe this. Nobody here wears shoes. We're going to be rich. Two people looking at the exact same thing, having two totally different perspectives. Now, this doesn't just happen with people. This happens with animals as well. Like a dog will look at their owner and think, you feed me. You take care of me. You love me. They must be God. A cat looks at their owner and thinks, you feed me. You take care of me. You love me. I must be God. Come on, cat owners. You even you know that's true. But isn't it true that two people can look at the exact same thing and have two totally different perspectives? Isn't that true? All the married people should definitely say yes. And today, on the Sunday before Easter, I think the same exact thing can happen. Two people can look at something and think or have two totally different perspectives. All right. So let me kind of back into this. I grew up going to church about 73 times a week. Being drugged to church. I always tell people I have a drug problem growing up. I was drugged to church 73 times a week. How many of you, that was you? You were always in church growing up. A few of us, I'm sorry. I've been there. I know it. And so I know that today, being drugged to church all the time, I know that today's not just like an ordinary Sunday. Today, like Rob said earlier, is Palm Sunday. Everybody say Palm Sunday. Here's what I remember about Palm Sunday as a kid. They would give us a palm branch in the church foyer as I walked in. which as a kid, greatest thing ever. Because this is my brother. We would have palm branch sword fights in the church for it. Like, I love Palm Sunday. And maybe you're not like, me and my brother who were dragged to church 73 times a week. Maybe your family was more of the drag you to the bowling alley 73 times a week sort of family, and you don't really know what the deal is with Palm Sunday. And I'm going to explain it in a second. But I will tell you this. I love Palm Sunday because it answers a question. And here's the question that it answers, and we'll put this on the screen. It answers, why in the world, today's title of the message, why in the world did Jesus become one of us? And spoiler alert, Palm Sunday answers this question. But two people can look at the exact same story and have two totally different perspectives. And so I'm going to read the Palm Sunday story out of the book of John. It's in all four Gospels, but I chose John today, the number 4 Gospel. I'm going after that one. And all I want out of this story is for you to pick up 5 words in the story. And I made it super easy because I highlighted them. So John chapter 12. Look at this. This is the Palm Sunday story, one of the 4 versions. The next day, the news that, pause, on 3, we're all going to read these 5 words, okay? Back row, read them. Front row, read them. Middle row, read them. 1, 2, 3. Jesus was on the way. Remember that, okay? Jesus was on the way. That was the news to Jerusalem, and that news swept through the city. A large crowd of Passover visitors took palm branches, which is why we call this, there you go, and went down the road to meet him, Jesus. And they shouted, "Praise God, blessings on the one who comes in the name of the Lord, hail to the King of Israel." And Jesus found a young donkey and rode on it, fulfilling the prophecy that said, "Don't be afraid, people of Jerusalem. Look, your king is coming, riding on a donkey's colt." His disciples didn't understand at the time that this was a fulfillment of prophecy, but after Jesus entered into his glory, they remembered what had happened and realized that these things had been written about him. Palm Sunday story. Now, you all, I can see it on your face. You just look at this through your Sunday school lens. And I like to always shatter that. This was not some Sunday school lens little like, oh, Jesus. This was a party. Woo! It was rowdy. People were jumping up and down. People were screaming. People were taking selfies, posting it up to the TikTok. They were hashtagging it like Jesus rides a donkey. They were emoji posting it, donkey emoji, palm branch emoji, fire emoji. Like they were just so excited. This is the party of the year in 00 AD, people. The party. But there's one person at this party who knows what comes after the party. Only one person. Who do you think that is? Jesus. The answer is always Jesus in church. Only Jesus knows that on the other side of all these palm branches is a cross with his name on it. Only Jesus knows that those same people who are shouting, "Jesus, you're the best," those same people are going to be shouting on Friday, "Nail him to a cross, crucify him." And what's absolutely mind-blowing about this story is even though Jesus knew that, he kept on going. He kept, aren't you thankful? He kept on going. He kept going. Now, I have a Reese egg here. I told you there were 5 words in that story that I wanted you to remember. The first person who shouts out those words right now. Was it you? Did you say it? It's going to be you because you just look innocent and amazing. There you go. He's supposed to be in kids' church and he just got like a kid's an egg. He's like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened. Okay, what he said was Jesus was on the way. Question. Where was Jesus on the way to? Jerusalem. You guys are really paying attention. But where in Jerusalem? Is he going to the Jerusalem Bank? Is he going to the Jerusalem Mall, the outlets, the Jerusalem Wawa, the Rofel? Where? Yes, there it is. Royal Farms. Here's where Jesus was going. This is so important. And we'll put this on the screen. Jesus was making his way through the cross to make his way to you. He was making his way through the cross to make his way to you. He was making his way through the nails, the beatings, the whips to get to you. He was making his way through his execution to get to you because that's my king. That's my Savior. That's where he was heading on Palm Sunday. Are you getting this? Because this is a big deal. He was making his way through the cross to get to you. But two people can look at the same story and have two totally different perspectives. Let me explain. So I'm going to give you a little pastor confession. I like to do this just to kind of freak you all out. I look at this, and I think, well, I believe God did that for this section. You look good today. You look godly. Did anybody bring your Bible to church today? There's a hand. No, there it is. So look, the godly brought. I think, man, God. I could see that God would do this for you all, and you all too. Okay, I didn't mean to leave you out. But sometimes I think I don't think God would do this for me because, I remember that one time that and that other time that and then that one time at the Love Creek Bridge, my road rage story I like to tell you guys about. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes I think, I wonder what God thinks about when he thinks about me. And I think, well, he's probably disappointed in me because I'm disappointed in me. Have you ever been disappointed in you? Anybody ever been disappointed in you? Here's a follow-up question. Anybody ever found yourself in a text group and you don't know how you got in the text group? Has this ever happened to anybody before? You're like, how did this happen? Listen, about a couple months ago, I got in this workout exercise text group of 5 guys. I don't know how I got in the group. And the group, this is not a lie, the group's name is called Less Fluffy Goals. Like less fluffy goals. I don't know how I got in Less Fluffy Goals. I'm sort of offended somebody put me in the Less Fluffy Goals group. And these guys are going hard, okay? They're doing this thing called 75 hard. Anybody heard of 75 hard? Okay, basically you eat perfect for 75 days. You work out every single day for 75 days, twice a day. Guys, I never want to work out 75 days in a row for my whole life goal is to not work out 75 days in a row. You know what I'm saying? And all day long, since I'm in this group that I don't know how I got into Less Fluffy Goals, my phone is buzzing all day long. And they're like posting pictures like, hey, look how many abs I had this morning. And I'm like, ugh. Like, hey, I look at my lunch. I'm eating a sprout platter. I'm like, ugh. And they're texting tips. Like, I heard if you snort hummus, you'll get the bench press an elephant. I'm like, I'm so discouraged all the time when I'm looking at these text messages. And so the other day I decided, okay, I'm not gonna do what they're gonna do, but I'm gonna quit dessert. And I was crushing it for 2 days. And it's not my fault. Okay, here's what happened. My son Nixon sang at his school one night last week, and he did so good that afterwards, Stacy was like, honey, we're going to take you to Hawker's in Millville and get you some ice cream. I'm like, here we go. And so we pulled up there. I looked at myself in a little pull-down mirror in my car. I'm like, stay strong. And I go in, and I'm standing there with Nixon. He orders chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream. I'm like, texting the group, like, pray for me. Less Fluffy Goals. And the lady's scooping up his ice cream, and in the middle of her scooping up his ice cream, this is true, Nixon disappeared into the store. And so the scooper lady handed me the ice cream. And this is the Mount Everest of ice cream piles. And I'm holding this ice cream, I'm like, oh dear Lord, okay, I gotta find Nixon right now. And so I'm running around the store, and I'm trying to find Nixon, I can't find him. And that's when I noticed that there was a little ice cream, like, glacier hanging over the side. And I thought, the only responsible thing to do in this situation is to take care of the little ice cream offshoot, you know what I'm saying? So I went ahead and took care of that offshoot. And then I took care of the top. I trimmed it way down. And then I licked all the way around the cup. And then my daughter got brownie ice cream, so I took a bite of her ice cream. Then I renamed the group, More Fluffy Goals, okay? And I was so disappointed in me. And that's like my ice cream fail story. That's not even my real stuff. I tell you my real stuff, you guys would probably leave the church. But I think if I'm disappointed in me, well, God's probably disappointed in me. Is anybody ever thought that before? It's so easy to think that. And here's why that perspective is a problem, because two people looking at two different things, okay? Or two things and seeing the different things. Here's why that's a problem. We'll put this on the screen. When we think, hey, God's disappointed in me, we pull away from him, and we avoid church most of the time. And here's how I know. Next weekend for Easter, this place, it's going to be packed in here, people. Packed in here, okay? And that's what happens. Every Easter, people show up who we don't even, like, a lot of times know who these people, they just show up. I mean, it's like 4th of July. Pennsylvania people just show up. Just kidding. Love you, Pennsylvania people. I know there's a lot of you in here. But every Christmas, every Easter, just the people who aren't normally here just show up. And in the church world, we call Christmas and Easter people Creasters. And we love Creasters. We do. But do you know why, like, they only come, like, a couple times a year? Because a lot of them are thinking, like, if God's real, he's probably disappointed in me because I'm disappointed in me because I remember that one time that so I can only take God's disappointment, twice a year. Because when we think, hey, God's disappointed in me, we pull away from him, and a lot of times we, like, avoid church most of the time. And maybe that's your perspective. You think, God's mad at me. God's disappointed in me. And so God sent me a text message this morning to read to you all. Do you know God texts? He does. He wrote me this text message to read to you. If you think God's mad at you and disappointed, here's what you need to hear. You're my son. You're my daughter. I'm not mad at you. I'm not out to get you. I'm not your punisher. I am your rescuer. And if you need proof, on Palm Sunday, I was making my way through the cross to make my way to you. Come on, believe that. Feel that. Listen, God's not mad at you. He loves you so much. He made sure you were here to hear, I'm not your punisher. I am your rescuer. And I kind of get that a little bit because I have kids. Now, I have 2 amazing kids. They're good-looking kids because they look like my wife, thank goodness. My kids, yesterday was such a big deal in our house because they were supposed to start soccer, but it rained, so they didn't start soccer, but they've been practicing soccer in the front yard the last couple of weeks to get ready, And so a couple weeks ago, I was in the front yard with my kids. They were practicing with each other, and Nora said, hey, I need to go in and get a drink. So Nora disappeared. And then next thing I hear is, I guess Nora had come out, and Nixon says, Daddy, Nora is drinking coffee. Now, let me just tell you, parents, I do not need my kids drinking coffee. My kids do not need uppers. You know what I'm saying? They need melatonin. They need downers, And come to find out, Nora was not drinking coffee. She had made chocolate milk to make her think it was coffee because she's been obsessed with coffee her entire life. And you know the reason she's obsessed with coffee? Because she can't have it, which is parenting in a nutshell, all right? If you're ever going to become a parent, they just want whatever they can't have. And she's always been obsessed with coffee. When she was 3, I remember Stacey was making coffee in the kitchen. The Keurig was making coffee in the kitchen. And we were actually in the living room, and Nora was, 3, toddling around looking for something to get in trouble to do, And Nora saw the Keurig machine. And I remember everything went in slow-mo in our house because Nora saw the coffee machine, and it was like chariots of fire, like, choo, 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 choo. She was running for that coffee, and me and Stacy, we jumped off the couch, and we're like, choo, 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 choo. And Nora's got her hand out like, choo, 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 choo. And we're like, no, listen, it's hot. It will burn you. But Nora is a little sinner. And so guess what she grabbed? The coffee, okay? And so she's holding on to the coffee, and she looks, and all she sees are her parents going like this. And so it scares her. She drops the coffee cup, and hot coffee goes all down my little 3-year-old's arm. It's my lowest parenting moment. Thanks for bringing it up. No, but when that happened, did Stacey and I say, Nora, you didn't listen. We're so disappointed in you, you little sinner. Is that what we did? No, listen, I about jumped over the kitchen island to rescue her. And Nora's like pushing me off. Like we're just trying, and we got her, and we got the coffee off of her. Because as a parent, I will do anything to rescue my kids. Anything. Now, Nora, she's fine. Me and Stacey, we lost, 10 years of our life, and I went bald because of that situation. But if I'm a jacked up dad, and I'll do anything to rescue my kids, can you imagine what our Heavenly Father would do to rescue us? But you don't have to imagine, because on Palm Sunday, Jesus was in full-on rescue mission mode. He was like, I'm not your punisher, I am your rescuer. Okay, Palm Sunday was a rescue mission. Now, I've been in church long enough, because I told you I had a drug problem growing up, go to church all the time. I know somebody here right now, you know, you've been shining your perfect halo since you woke up this morning. You know, you got, some turtle wax on it to get the glimmer going. You think, you need to tell them about sin and their punishment. They're going to get all, like I said, but not me, because I got my perfect halo. Listen, let's talk about sin. Sin is when we just don't listen to God. I think the theological definition for sin is, hey, you're acting crappy again. And so sin, when we become a Jesus follower, Jesus takes all of our crap, because we have a lot of crappy stuff in our lives. Welcome to Bay Shore, where I like to make you feel good about yourself. But he takes all of our stuff, and our crap is sin. So I'm going to just try to illustrate this. I have the Our Crap backpack. You can buy this at your local Target. But when we become a Jesus follower, Jesus takes all of our sin, okay? And so let's just say this is my Love Creek Bridge road rage situation. Puts it in the Our Crap backpack. He takes, let's make this about you instead of me, all right? This is Dewey Beach last night for some of you. Okay, so put that in here. All right, this is the largest weight I have. Let's call this, any Pittsburgh Steelers fans in the room? Oh, yeah. Better put that mess in the bag right here, all right? But take all of our stuff, all of our crap. And what Jesus did on Palm Sunday, where he was heading to, was the cross, so that he could take all of our crap on the cross, put it on his back, to not punish us, but to rescue us from what? Our stuff, our crap. And so that's why I think Jesus followers should be smiling most of the time. I think Jesus followers our soundtrack to our lives should be Pharrell Williams, Happy. Because I'm happy, clap along if you feel like I think Jesus rescuing us is the greatest news on earth. We shouldn't frown about it. We should be excited about it. I remember after Nora had burned her arm with the coffee, or the Keurig machine attacked her, however you want to look at it, we took her picture. And so here's Nora after we took her picture with her burn on her arm. So this is, I hate this picture. What I do like about this picture, because I hate it for most reasons, but what I love about this picture is she's smiling. Why is she smiling? Because even though she messed up, she was rescued. Actually, because she messed up, she was rescued. And the perspective I think we can all have on Easter Sunday and for Palm Sunday leading up to this is that Jesus was on a rescue mission for us people. Not as your punisher, but as your rescuer. Aren't you thankful for that? I'm thankful for that. So, I want you to have that perspective about Palm Sunday. Now, let me switch gears for a second. About 10 years ago, I was on a surf trip in Nicaragua, and this was BK. 10 years ago, it was BK. Before kids. Before kids, we had this mystical thing called disposable income. Parents, listen, you remember disposable income? Yeah, it was wild. All right, so 10 years ago, we had a little disposable income. I went on a surf trip down to Nicaragua, and one night, me and my brother and our friend Paul were walking down a road that I actually have a picture of the road that I took. So this is the road, we're walking down this road, and this is obviously a picture during the day, but we were walking down it one night, and at night in Nicaragua, it is dark. Okay, there's no business LED sign that's 10 times brighter than the sun. You know what I'm saying? It is dark. And so I remember walking down this road, and I remember looking up, and in between the trees, I saw the sky, and I felt like I could see a million stars. You see everything. It was so crazy. And I remember looking at these stars and thinking, I am so small, and God is so big. He made this. And then I thought, how does he even know me? And do you know how God knows us? Because he came here. He put our skin on, okay? In the Palm Sunday story, he drove a Colt down Jerusalem Boulevard. Modern equivalent, Mustang GT down Jerusalem Boulevard. Which is why, and we'll put this on the screen. This is why I know that you're not too small for Jesus, but Jesus is way too big for just you. You're not too small for Jesus. Look, Jesus came to rescue not just me, he came to rescue as many of us as he could. I mean, all the us's. Like even the people who take 75 items in the 12 items or less line at Giant, like he loves them. It's amazing, you know? And so if this, everybody say this with me. Jesus is way too big for just me. Now, if this is true, shouldn't we tell like our weird neighbors about Jesus? And, tell, that our weird uncle who posts weird stuff on Facebook about Jesus? And tell the person in front of us in line at the grocery store, the people who the person who busts out a check to write, for their groceries. I'm always, whenever I say that, I'm like, of course I'm in the line behind the person writing a check for the groceries. What's going to happen next? Their beeper's going to go off, And I'm an introvert, so I say, we should tell people about Jesus. And I'm also thinking what you're probably thinking, well, I can't tell people about Jesus. They'll think I'm weird. Well, I got bad news. They already think you're weird. Hello. And think about this. We tell people about stuff that's weird, that doesn't matter all the time. Oh my goodness, a couple Fridays ago, Stacey and I, we had the whole day off without our kids. Woo! The whole day. Okay, so you know what we did, okay? All the adults know what we did. We went to Lowe's, baby. Woo! What do you think I was going to say? You need to put that mess in the our crap bag, your dirty thoughts. I know you were thinking it. Anyway, so we're at Lowe's, and Stacy sees these planter boxes. She's like, oh, we got to get these planter boxes. We could put ferns on them, put them on our front porch. And all I'm thinking is I was like, do you want me to pick these up, or is this a false alarm? Because, I don't know, man, you know all about this. I'll carry stuff around the Lowe's for 20 minutes, and she's like, just put it back. So I was like, is this for real? Is this actually going to happen, or am I going to put this back? I don't want to carry it. It's heavy. She's like, no, this one's for real. So I picked it up, and I'm like, okay. And so we go to the checkout line. And the Lowe's checkout guy, I don't want to, down on him, but, he looked like he could care less. He did not. He wanted to be anywhere but there. And so we put the thing up there, and Stacy starts talking to this guy. She's like, hey, we got these planter boxes. Do you like them? We're going to put ferns in them. We're probably going to put them on our porch. Do you have a porch? We're not sure. We were going to maybe put the fern, keep it in the pot, and then put it inside the pot. Or do you think we should unpot the fern from the pot and put it straight into the pot? And do you have a favorite color? When's your birthday? What was your first car? And listen, I misread this guy. It was like he had been waiting his whole life to answer all 73 of Stacy's questions. And they just went back and forth, and I'm just standing there it was just, my point is we will tell people about the pots and Lowe's. We'll tell people, hey, have you been to the new Nicola's? Same food as the old one, but it's new, And we'll post picture albums of our kids' first day at soccer. It's a 917 picture album. Half the pictures are out of focus, and you think somebody wants to see it. No, they don't. But you just post. We tell people about weird stuff that doesn't matter all the time. But you know what really matters? Is that Jesus came to rescue us. That is what really matters. And so that's why I'm betting on you that you guys are going to invite people to Easter at Bay Shore next weekend. I am betting on you. All right, I'm all in on you guys. And if you do that, I'm going to make an agreement with you right now. Spit shake. If you bring people with you to Easter next weekend, I promise I will tell them about Jesus for you. I'll do it. And here's how you can trust that. I've been a pastor on Easter for 9 years, and I am 9 for 9 about talking about Jesus on Easter. And next weekend, I'm pretty sure I'm going 10 for 10. I'm pretty sure. And so bring people with you, and I'm going to let you in on a little Bay Shore secret. All right? Everybody lean in for the secret. Everybody lean in. Everybody lean in. We have an agenda around here to reach as many people for Jesus as possible. And I don't want to toot our own horn, but we're kind of good about telling jacked up people about Jesus. Think about it. You're here. It's what we do around here. See, I set you up on that one. I told you last weekend, 522 people in the last 9 years have accepted Jesus in this basement. 522 people. It's so exciting, you know. And I know somebody's like, well, it sounds like you're just about the numbers. Sounds like you just want to be a big church. Yes. 100%. Okay, and numbers matter to us because every number has a name. Every name has a story, and every story matters to God. And Jesus is way too big for just us. And have you ever invited somebody and they actually came? Has this ever happened? When they like, it's the coolest thing ever. There was this guy, Mark. I don't know, Mark's in the room right now. But for years, I would see Mark and his kids surfing at Northside. And for years, we'd have a casual conversation, and somewhere in there, I'd be like, hey, man, you should come to church sometime. You know, it won't be weird. The pastor might be, but it won't be weird, you know. Like, the people are great. And 6 months ago, he didn't come. And then 6 months ago, guess who shows up? Mark. And I was like, this is so cool. And then he came to our welcome lunch, and we're all kind of going around talking in the welcome lunch. And Mark was like, well, the pastor kept on asking me to come. And he said, I kind of like been done with God in church, but he said, I thought I'd give God one last shot. And he said, I'm glad I did. And I was like, look, Jesus is way too big for just us. And so I'm betting on you that next weekend, even though half of y'all are going to be in Myrtle Beach, you're going to invite some people to come here. I don't know who. Maybe it's your friends. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's your coworkers. Maybe you text the whole fluffy goals group you got going on and invite them to church. And we got like these Easter invite cards. A lot of you got these when you came in. I think we ordered around 79,000 of these. I don't know how many. We have enough for you to give every person in your life 230 each, okay? But just you can just hand these out, give these to people. And here's the thing. Some of you are like, well, they don't know what's coming. Look, they know it's Easter. They're waiting for you. They're like, well, they're going to invite me. Here it comes. So I'm telling you, Jesus is way too big to stay with just us. And the reason this matters is because a lot of the people in your life have that perspective that Jesus is their punisher. They don't know what you know. They don't know that he's your rescuer. One invite can change that. So can we pack this place out next weekend? Can we do it? Can you guys help me pack this place out next weekend? Are you going to cancel your vacation? No. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to end with this. Last year for Mother's Day, I took my smoking hot wife, my baby mama, to the Old Mill Crab House. Anybody know where the Old Mill is? It's this place called Inland, so it's like inland. Some of you know. If you don't know, and you decide to go because Pastor Joel talked about it, listen, be prepared. It's about $79,000 for all-you-can-eat crabs, okay? But if you do what Stacy and I, we don't eat for like 73 days ahead of time. That's how you take them to the cleaners, you know? So anyway, last year I was like, I'm going to take Stacy. She loves crabs. It's going to be amazing. And I thought, I'm a realist. I thought, there's probably, 7 other perfect husbands who are going to do the same thing, So I better get there early, so we don't have to wait in line. And the day I took Stacy, it wasn't actually Mother's Day because Mother's Day is kind of crazy for us. So we went like the day before, and it was raining. So there's no way to be there, right? I mean, nobody. Here's a picture of what we saw when we pulled up. This is, there it is. That's. You all were there. Everybody was there. I don't think there was anybody who was not there. And we're standing in this line to get $79,000 overpriced crabs. And the line, hundreds of people in this line, all right? And it's raining. Stacy and I are hangry because we hadn't eaten in 73 days. I forgot the umbrella, of course, And so I'm like, Happy Mother's Day. And the whole time I'm in line, I'm doing my signature line move. This is what I do. We'll put this on the screen. I'm like, here it's coming. There it is. Come on, who does that? You just like, it doesn't change anything, but are they moving up there? When are they going to get me in here? I'm standing there doing this over and over. And I just started thinking, I thought, we're standing in line for overpriced crabs. Like, how cool would it be if people stood in line to get in this basement? Wouldn't that be amazing? And not because the band is amazing, although the band is amazing. Not because our volunteers are amazing, although best volunteers on the planet. Not because of anything I can say, but because Jesus is amazing. And our coworkers, our friends, the people we do life with, they may think that Jesus is their punisher. Can you imagine if they find out he's their rescuer? I think people should be lined up out there. And so I had that dream and lined at the old mill. Now, last weekend happened, and the services went a little long. Last weekend, I blame the pastor. But do you know what we had out there waiting to get into 10:30 before the service started? A line. A line. We had a line. And I think that's what happens when people realize Jesus is my rescuer. And so, just so I'm clear, I triple dog dare you to invite everybody you know to Easter next weekend. We're going to have a great time. If you're not going to be in town, make sure you watch us online. And guys, we're just going to celebrate that Jesus on the cross was making his way through that cross to rescue us. Isn't that good? Aren't you thankful? Let me pray for you guys. Jesus, I'm so thankful that Palm Sunday was your journey to rescue me. It's your journey to rescue anybody who will take that rescue mission. And so, God, I'm so thankful that you did that. And maybe you're here today and you've never accepted Jesus. You never accepted that rescue because you thought God's got to be disappointed in me, or God's mad at me, or he's a punisher. You didn't realize that he was on a rescue mission for you. And I'm just here to tell you he was. And he is. And in this moment, all you have to do is reach out and grab his hand, and he will rescue you. And the way you do that is just by saying a simple prayer. And so if you want to follow Jesus, you want him to rescue you, maybe you've never followed Jesus before, nobody's looking around, but would you just raise your hand and say, I want that. I want to accept Jesus. I want him to rescue me. I see so many hands in this place. So here's what I want to do. If you raise your hand or you already are a Jesus follower, let's just say this out loud together. Dear Jesus, I believe that on Easter Sunday, you were in a tomb because you gave up your life for me to rescue me. You took the punishment for my sin because I'm a sinner. But you walked out of that grave alive that Sunday. And that's how I know you're my Savior. Dear Jesus, thank you for being my rescuer. Amen.